Hi everyone, welcome to Cooking with Sarah. I hope you're all keeping well and safe. Have you ever woken up one lazy Sunday morning craving the taste and smell of freshly baked bread? Did you know how easy it is to make your own fresh bread? This has several advantages. Not only do you know what's going into your bread, it leaves a fantastic smell in your home and it tastes amazing. So without further delay, let me show you how you can make your own homemade bread. Today I'm going to be making some French baguettes with sesame seeds. These taste absolutely delicious. They're so crispy and soft in the inside, and the amazing thing is, like I said before, they're so easy to make. Give it a go. So to begin with, let's run through the ingredients that you're going to need for these delicious baguettes. The ingredients you will need to make these delicious baguettes, and these ingredients will make you 8 baguettes, are 700 grams of strong white bread flour, and this is white flour with a protein content of at least 12%. You'll need 530 grams of cool water. Try to use bottled or filtered water, as chlorine in tap water is thought to possibly slow the activity of yeast down. 100 grams of sesame seeds, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of instant or active dried yeast, or 15 grams of fresh yeast, 1 teaspoon of table salt, and for the garnishing at the end you will need 1 egg, 25 grams of sesame seeds, and 25 grams of mature cheddar cheese. So we're going to start by pouring in our strong white bread flour. I then add salt and whisk these together. After I've mixed the salt with the flour, I add in my yeast and sugar, and again I'll give these a quick whisk before adding my sesame seeds. We just want to make sure that these ingredients are all equally distributed in the flour. I then add my cool water, and I'm just mixing this mixture together now. It really only takes a couple of minutes to mix. You could possibly use a mixer if you wanted to. The time it takes to bring out your mixer and clean it afterwards, for me this really only took 2 minutes, so it wasn't worth bringing out a mixer to do this. After you've mixed your mixture, so a couple of minutes later, you then cover it with a damp tea towel, and we're going to leave that on there for about 45 minutes. So I'm just uncovering the dough, and we can see that it's risen fairly nicely, but we're only halfway through the rising process. So what I'm going to do is lay this out on the table and give it a few folds, and this is to even out the temperature. So I wet my work surface and my hands so that nothing sticks, and I just give it a few turns. As you can see here. I then cover the dough with my damp towel and I leave it to rise for another 45 minutes, and this is the final rise. While the final rise is happening, there are a few bits you can do to prepare for the next few stages. The first thing I'm going to do is oil some cling film, which I'm going to use to cover my baguettes. I then grease my baking tray that I'm going to use. You may use 1 or 2 baking trays, depending on how big your oven is. And the final thing I'm going to do is to prepare my baker's couche. Now this is a well-floured piece of material, and it can be any piece of clean cotton or linen. What you want to do is cover this material in flour. So you're going to dust it in some ordinary plain flour, and we're just going to set that aside for the moment. After the second 45 minutes, I'm going to start pre-shaping my baguettes. I start by dusting the work surface with some plain flour. This doesn't have to be bread flour, just normal plain flour. and I also dust the dough with the flour. And we can see just how much the dough has risen now thanks to that amazing yeast. I then divide my dough into 4 equal pieces. Now you can do this using a weighing scale, and my pieces came to about 350 grams each. Don't worry if they aren't completely equal. It will just mean that some of your baguettes will be a little bit bigger than others, but you want them to be roughly the same size. But if, it's 10 or 20 grams here or there, it's not going to make a huge difference. You then start shaping the 4 pieces of dough, as you can see here. Once this is done, I then cover these pre-shaped pieces of dough with cling film, and I set the timer for another 15 minutes. Once this is over, we're now going to start forming the final baguette. So again, we dust the worktop with flour, and we're going to uncover the dough one at a time and cut each one in half to make our 8 baguettes. And I'm going to show you how to shape these. This stage needs to be done quite quickly, as the more you handle the dough, the tighter it gets and the more difficult it gets to shape. If your dough does start to get tight, you can just leave it on the side to relax for a minute or 2 and start reshaping it again. After you've shaped each baguette, you need to make sure you seal the ends of it with the heels of your hand. So you just need to apply a little bit of pressure and seal the ends at the base. And as you transfer your baguettes to your baker's couche, you need to make sure this seal is at the base of your baguette. And again, dust the baguettes with some flour once you've shaped them. Perfecting these does take time and experience, and I am by no means an expert at shaping these. However, it was an enjoyable experience. I'm showing you how I shaped one of my baguettes in normal speed, and the others I'm going to zoom through. Once your 8 baguettes are shaped, you need them to rise for another 30 minutes. So we're going to cover them with a very light and dry tea towel. After 20 minutes is up, it's a good idea to turn on your oven to get it nice and hot. You need to have your oven at about 210 degrees centigrade and place a tray of hot water in the bottom of your oven, because you need to have a steamy atmosphere in the oven to get the baguettes really nice and crispy. Once the 30 minutes is up, we then transfer the baguettes over to the baking tray that we pre-greased. We space out each baguette equally to give it space to expand. I then spray them with some water, and I score each baguette with a very sharp knife. You can also use a blade if you're experienced with blades, however I just use a sharp knife. I then start garnishing my baguettes, and I do this by covering my baguettes in egg that I previously whisked. I then sprinkle some sesame seeds on all of my baguettes, and on half of my baguettes I decided to put some mature grated cheddar cheese on them, and this was really just personal preference, what I felt like. You may have other types of cheese you want to add, or even other seeds. Finally, you want to get your baguettes into the oven as quickly as possible and spray the oven with some water to get the baguettes nice and crispy. Set your oven for 20 minutes, and halfway through you want to swap your baguette positions around to make sure they're evenly cooked. And here are the final yummy baguettes ready to enter the oven. So it's been quite a long day, but the baguettes are done, they're out of the oven, and they just look amazing, and they smell even better. So good. I can't wait to dig into one of these. Look at how light and fluffy the bread is. Okay, so it's time for the taste test. They taste so good. This is the best bread I've ever had, and I'm not exaggerating that. So good. You have to try it and make these at home. They are so good. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful and that you'll have a go at making some of these tasty baguettes at home. If you're new to this channel, please do hit that subscribe button right now so that you can keep receiving loads more videos. And don't forget to share this video with your loved ones if you think they'll find it useful as well. Thank you so much everyone. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.